In this video, we will look at an introduction to functions. Before we talk about what a function is, let's first examine what's called a relation. A relation is a set of ordered pairs. By definition, a set refers to a grouping of some kind. If you recall, an ordered pair refers to two numbers written in a certain order. So usually those two numbers are written in brackets. The first number represents the x variable, or the first component of your ordered pair, and the second number represents the y variable, or the second component of your ordered pair. This ordered pair is usually written to show a relationship between two variables. The first variable, the x variable, is also referred to as the independent variable, and the second variable is the y variable, also referred to as the dependent variable. A relation can be represented in various ways. The first one is what's referred to as a set. So we talked about a set earlier as a grouping. If I have a grouping of ordered pairs, we're using curly brackets to represent a set. They're called set brackets. And I can put a bunch of ordered pairs together into what's called a set. The second method is to look at an equation. Equations, as we've seen before, are written with two variables. For example, y equals 2x minus 7. And this also represents a relation. In this case, it would be a line. The third way to represent a relation is in a graph. So graphs are usually put onto a coordinate plane with an x and y axis. And one of the graphs that we looked at before in grade 10 is a parabola. This is also an example of a relation. The fourth way we can look at representing a relation is through a table of values. In our table of values, we have an x column and a y column, and each pair of numbers refer to one ordered pair. So for example, in this table, we have the points -2 and 3, -1 and 7, 0 and 4, and 1 and -2. The last way to represent a relation is through a mapping, or what's called an arrow diagram. An arrow diagram is similar to our table of values, where one x value is mapped onto a y value. So we usually write the numbers into bubbles. There's one bubble for the x values and one bubble for the y values, and each of those numbers are paired as a ordered pair or a point, the same way they would be on a table. So for example, in this mapping, we have 4 ordered pairs. 1 is mapped with 3, which indicates the ordered pair 1 and 3. 2 is mapped with 0, which indicates the ordered pair 2 and 0. The y value is repeated, so it only needs to be written once in the mapping, but it's indicated with an arrow to say that -5 also gets mapped to 0, so that's a third ordered pair, -5 and 0, and the last one is -7 and 9. Okay, so now we're going to look at what's called a function. A function is a specific type of relation. Basically what a function is it's a relation in which every unique x value has only one possible y value. To explain this further, we're going to look at an example. In this example, I'm going to give you a set of ordered pairs, and what we want to do is we want to look at whether or not this relation is also a function. So we said a relation can be represented as a set of ordered pairs. So in this set, I have 4. And what we want to do is we want to look at whether or not this set represents a function. So we're going to look at each x value, and what we're looking for is to determine whether every x value has only one possible y value. If you look carefully at this set, you'll notice that the first ordered pair and the last ordered pair both have the same 3 as the x value, but they have different y values. So that means that there are 2 different y values for the one possible x value, meaning this is not a function. Let's look at another example. In this set, I'm going to give you, again, 4 ordered pairs. So these ordered pairs have 4 different x values. There's 2, 3, -1, and -2. if I examine this set, I can see that each x value has only one possible y value. No x value is repeated, and therefore no x value will have more than one y value. Since every x value has a different y value, then that means that this will be a function. So let's summarize what we've looked at. For a set of ordered pairs, if there is a repeated x value with different y values, that means that the relation is not a function. What does that mean graphically? Well, notice that points with the same x value but different y values will lie on the same vertical line. A vertical line, if we remember, is a line that moves straight up and down, and they have similar x values. So therefore, any points that have the same x value but different y values would lie on one vertical line. That means that we can use what's called a vertical line test. If a vertical line can be drawn that hits a curve more than once, that relation would automatically not be a function. So we can use this vertical line test in order to test graphs and determine whether or not a relation is a function or not.